Hello, welcome back. Yes, we're dealing with locations, exotic adventure locations, things that you'll need for your maps. And I'm really looking forward to doing this. I've run this quite a few times. This, of course, will be a little bit different, but I always sort of follow a very similar sort of process. I'm going to put up a poll. Feel free to take part in that poll. And we'll be building tools today. So for those of you who wanted more ideas and things that you could use in your game, very much this is all about that. I suggest take part in the poll, grab some food, some drink, and yeah, we're going to get started. This is going to be quick and fast, and then straight into things, okay? Because this is a work day, as you know. And on a work day, we have to get stuff done. Anyway, grab that food and drink, get comfortable, and let's crack on in. Hi, welcome to How to RPG. My name is Fred Weller, and today I want to talk about tabletop role-playing games, specifically making exotic, extraordinary, fantastical locations for your adventures. And when we do that sort of thing, sometimes we kind of lose perspective about how to go about doing something like that. So this is all part of Game Master Preparation, and this is Lesson 4. For those of you who are unaware, I run this program about every month, and we're going to go back through some of these things, and then we're going to look at some of the tools we can make, and we're going to make some tools. So, overview. Inspiration for creating locations. How to create your locations. Location details, the information for it, specific location layout. So what we're doing is we're going to look at landmarks. We were looking at landmarks before. We're going to keep building on that. We're going to pull from wonders of the world. There are many wonders of the world, and of course miscellaneous recommendations. Okay, objectives. Explain how to build your adventure location for your role-playing game. Demonstrate that process by actually doing some of that, and allow some practice examples. So we're going to actually get you involved. This is why it's a live stream. So inspiration for creating locations. What does that look like? How do we work that out? Very, very simple. Always start with reality. Honestly, I think it's the best thing you can do. Real world architecture, real buildings, real structures, real landmarks, real things, okay? Even real world natural locations. Find an image of a historic building, a structure, an area, something that stands out, and you build on top of that. Start there. That's my advice to you. Books and movies offer many landscapes and places that are quite exotic, and really you'd be surprised just how useful watercolor, acrylic, and particularly oil paintings can be. Video games have some pretty extensive role-playing game experiences, that they have quite a lot of dynamic environments that are quite interesting to explore. So you can pull that sort of stuff across into your tabletop role-playing game. Pictures, paintings, landscapes, as I said, in oil and acrylic and watercolor. Pre-made role-playing game published adventures have many locations with maps that you can use. Just the concept alone, but maps are always nice as well, right? Searching Google search, Pinterest, ArtStation, DeviantArt for images and locations. And yes, you can also use ChatGPT, and of course it will be scraping the internet, but ChatGPT is now version 4. I actually think version 4 of ChatGPT is probably worse than version 3.5 in many cases. And it's going to obviously just scrape the internet for whatever was ever published worldwide on the World Wide Web, but you can also use AI art, and that will actually generate some locations for you if you need artwork for it, and it's something very sort of specific, so you can tailor it to what you're after. Of course, it's going to be hit and miss because you don't always get what you want, but these are some suggestions to get things moving. Okay, once you've done that, how do you create your locations? And I always go back to Mike Shea or Sly Flourish. Again, start with using real world architecture, plans, layouts, deck plans of a ship, floor plans for buildings and ruins, layouts from all sorts of archaeological finds, These can be really useful. And I mean not just the stuff that's standard. Go deeper than that. Go look at some of the stuff that is off the mainstream science uh, pathway. There is some very unusual stuff out there that is not currently accepted by the science community. And whether it's true or not is unimportant. It's fantastical, it's interesting, and you can use it in a tabletop role-playing game. That's the important thing. Check out Sly Flourish's fantastic locations. His preparation method is boiled down to this simple sentence. Make whatever it is, it has to be old. A lot of time has passed. It's been there a while. Make it large. Give it some scope. Give it a unique feature. Okay? Something that makes it different from everything else. Give it a function. It is not just there to look pretty. So it's got to have a purpose, or at least had a purpose in the past at some point. But also in your adventure, also a good idea. And give it an interesting name. Okay? Just the word forest can be changed by saying the gloom forest. So give it a name and go from there. Focus on making a location that is reusable as a set piece. I mean, it's nice to have stuff that is different to everything else, and you've got to have those at some point. But also it's important as part of your preparation to create things that you can reuse in the future. It's really helpful in terms of preparation. So many locations tend to repeat. So you can use the same structure quite often, whether that's a village, a town, or a city. Castles have varied over the years. But, you know, a village is usually broken up into a single road and everything is sort of revolved around that, or a crossroad. Towns will have a few more roads in them and a green, and a city will have a green, many more roads, different areas, possibly a dock, and you're going to wind up with some sort of cathedral or chapel of a significant size. Strongholds can cover just about anything under the sun. Tombs tend to have a very similar structure, so you can use that. Pyramids, mazes can vary, but use an activity book and you've got a maze, right? Those activity books that have the mazes in them, use that. Temples often have the same sort of structure. A shrine, mines, there are only about 3 or 4 different types of mine structures, so you can repurpose them all the time. And the one that you want the most is going to be the bell shaped mine, so just make sure you have a bell shaped mine. Cave locations can vary, okay, so you don't, but it's just a cave. It's just an extension, another cavity, another passageway, another cavity, another passageway. Monster lairs can often have the same formula. Your death trap dungeon may have a very similar formula. You're just moving the rooms around, really. The treasure vault, it's just a chamber. Sailing ships. Sailing ships, there's always a need for a sailing ship at some point. Somebody's going to want a sailing ship. Whether that sailing ship is sailing around on the sea or in the sky or into outer space, who knows? But yes, these can be reused. Ensure the location is interactive for your player characters because it's the tool for one of the pillars of play. And your gameplay has got to include exploration. Exploring a location is very difficult if you can't interact with that location. So you have to give them things that they can find, pick up, manipulate. Draw a picture with digital tools. You can use paper, pencil, change what you need. Like you can take something that existed and just trace over it and then adjust what you need to, and then you've got a new location. Labeling the map and the location, also very useful. I've mentioned about artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, and Stable Diffusion and so forth that you can use for doing stuff. There's a bunch of different resources out there. The Game Master's Book of Random Encounters is really good. Pathfinder's role-playing game Mastery Guide is very good for first edition. Wally DM's got a bunch of puzzle journals now. He's got 2 now. You've got the Dungeon Master Guide for every version of Dungeons & Dragons has got some fairly useful tools in there. Even the 5e one has got some stuff there, right? It's really just a repurposing of an older version of D&D. Okay, now that we've done that, we have to deal with our location details. What do we need to know about our location? Sometimes all you need to know is the name of the location, but there are some questions you can ask yourself, like who created that location? And there are places you can get ideas for this. And like you can usually just jump on the internet and just Google, tables that will already be worked out for you. What is the purpose of the location? Now, it would have had a purpose when it was originally created, if it is a created location, okay? But what is the purpose for your adventure as well? It's going to be different, and that purpose may have changed over time. So you have to determine, do your players need to know what the original purpose was? Was that useful for you, but the players will only interact with one part of that information? So you don't always have to determine all of that, okay? Particularly if the purpose of the location has changed over time. Sometimes the only thing you need to know about it is the purpose that it used to have not so long ago and what it is right now. What is the history of the location falls into this? Why is that location important to your adventure? Who inhabits the location, the general population of the location? Positioning your hazards, your obstacles on the location. This is things like traps and puzzles, natural hazards. There's lots of different things you can put into there. Then dealing with your environmental dressing. So these are objects, furniture, adding in features to the location with aspects that can be, again, manipulated, interacted with, picked up, stuck in their backpack, in a pouch. This is like, when it comes to location, probably the most important thing to remember about location is there for exploration. And if you are not into exploration, then you probably don't need to do a lot of work around location. But if you want your players to be able to go and check out and do anything they want, then location is exploration, so you need to have lots for them to do. Okay, so that's the basics in terms of it. It's not that difficult. I always try to give you some miscellaneous recommendations when it comes to locations, and try to sort of throw a few different things at you to see what things you might be able to pick up and use. And I try to change that every single time. But you don't have to be good at drawing a location map. Okay, honestly, you're not selling it, you're using it for yourself. It's just a guide for you. Heck, that map location and the drawing you do doesn't even have to be that good for your players. It really doesn't. It's not necessary to use or learn how to use map drawing software. It's nice if you can, but there's alternative methods. You don't have to do the drawing yourself. You can use somebody else's stuff, you know. You can even get ChatGPT and artificial intelligence to draw a map for you. Believe it or not, if you give enough prompts and the right prompts, it will draw up a map. It might not be exactly what you're wanting, but it can do that. So many different maps have been made for fantasy locations that you can steal and borrow. And they still exist. They're out there. They're in the ether. They're in books. But it's not just that. Remember, I keep falling back to, you can use real world locations, and they're often mapped out. So just use those. Those things can be perfectly fine. I've come across an individual just recently who's in New Zealand, and they are using a particular part of New Zealand as their adventure location. And literally they're using the actual map of that part of New Zealand. You can do exactly the same sort of thing. Seriously, you can do exactly the same sort of thing. So that's all I have to say on locations, maps, adventure places, things like that. I hope that this was interesting and useful to you. I want to thank you for watching and listening. I want to thank my patrons who make it possible for me to keep running this program and building on it each time. And this is very much part of why I do it, is I think we need to keep coming back to these things, because there's only so many different things you can talk about. We still have to do the hard yakka. So wherever you are in the world, all the best, and until next time, keep rolling those 20s. Okay. That's that. Now, for those of you who are wondering, I'm going to show you a list of landmarks, things that you could use as a location for an adventure. I'm going to go through this very quickly, and I'm going to show you the document so you can see what it is. And I'm going to probably I guess the best way I can say this, I'm going to build on it. So I can see Fred Huber is already trying to inject some ideas into here that can be added to that, which is great. But I wanted to at least review what we have already sort of started to look at. And so that's what I want to do. So I'm going to make a mental note of where we are. What landmark locations can we add to the list? So we have about 100 so far. So this has been, I guess this project's been going for a little while. I think I did it last time we were working on it. We had pulled across a whole lot of stuff from different wonders of the world, the things that have been made by humans, and we haven't actually done the natural wonders of the world, but I kind of feel like we have to a certain degree. But yeah, that's that's part of it. So let's have a look at this list. I will go through the list fairly fast, and then we'll start building onto it because it's not complete. We're not quite to 100, but we're very close. So this is what I have. And can I just change this a little bit? I'll make this a little bit bigger so my head is not, yeah, it's just poof, like that. No, that's not right. Right one. Let's try that again. There. Better. Okay. So this is Google Map, Google Documents, and we've started this. We've been building on it. We just need to keep going, right? That's the trick. It's like just finish it now. So now that we've talked about that, let's have a look. Let's go through this list. And I might just magnify it so my eyes are getting old, so it's a little bit easier if I just make things larger. And I'll read it out very, very fast. I'm not going to go into the description. So landmarks, locations for your adventures that you could use. A tower, a stone tower, a cathedral, a wildlife park, freshwater lake. Lakes are usually freshwater anyway. Huge statues, waterfalls are good. A palace, an abbey, a causeway, caves, natural terraces, a castle, kind of like a tower, but a great wall, like the Chinese Great Wall of China, right? A mausoleum, a coliseum, pyramids, a crater to a volcano. We have restaurants, if you want to have a restaurant, a place we can eat. Graveyards, a big tree, magical shops. I know players love that. Stone rings, which is like Stonehenge, isn't it? Mud pools, a canyon or ravine, sunken ships or shipwrecks, a beach or turquoise beach, a giant anthill, cairns, which is like stacks of little stones and rocks. A tunnel could be a location. We have plenty of them over here in New Zealand on the North Shore. A farmer's field, a sea, a town square, a geyser, like a heated geyser, hot springs, a billboard, ancient battlefields, a dam, a train wreck, distant cliff face, a bridge, a wharf, an aqueduct, a ghost town that isn't sort of a thing anymore, a hedgerow, crossroads, just a crossroads, a grain silo. You got the Sphinx statue, the yellow brick road from the Wizard of Oz is in here, but crossroads and roads can be a thing. An inn, a tavern, a trading post, a ski resort, a mountain monument. These are things that this is what I'm talking about here. A portal, an obelisk. You've got supernatural phenomena that could cover all sorts of things. A mine, a logging camp, a tar pit, a garbage dump, a destination marker, some sort of glass sea. You could have salt flats, a hedge maze. You can have gardens, parks, libraries, museums, temples, a monolith, terracotta soldiers, a stone arch, a tomb. Maybe this tomb is not underground. Maybe it's something you can see from the outside. It's kind of like a mausoleum, really. An observatory with a telescope, a sunken city, so we're going underwater now. A lighthouse is a good one. A pit of souls, God knows what that is, right? A bottomless pit, like just a big hole in the ground. A water well, a fountain, which is kind of like a water well, a power station, an ore smelter, a windmill's a good one, a watermill. You can have watermills and you can have windmills. They're all kind of things you can drop around. You have volcanoes, factories, a statue or a hero statue, and that's kind of where we sort of stopped. And so we're only really about, I would say 11 by the numbers, but in reality we've probably got a few here that are repeats, and we always wind up with a few repeats along the way. So I've got this document here, and I think I've got a bit of time and you've got a bit of time, so we'll add to this whatever ideas you come up with. And I will do my best to fill these out and sort of work on them a little bit more, get them to a point where they're, eventually going to be of some use to you. Now that we've covered that, gone over that, you've got the ideas that I had. Now it's about what ideas do you have, and we'll put this into here. Okay, we'll share it with everybody else. Okay, over to the chat. What have we got? The Superdome. I don't know what we're talking about. We've got a canyon already. Barrier reef. Yes. Barrier reef. A reef is not a bad idea. It's an underwater. I know what you're talking about. I think we'll just call it a reef. Does it have to be a barrier reef? We're talking about Great Barrier Reef, aren't we, over in Australia? But is it just a reef? I suppose it's one of those. Isn't a Superdome really just a Coliseum? Just a different name for a Coliseum? I think it generally is, isn't it? The Mesa Verdit. I want to know what that is. We've got Canyon already, so I'll chuck this idea that you've got in here, and we'll work with that. I don't know what that is really. I feel like isn't that a natural location of some kind? Pale Rider. Hello, Pale Rider and Fred Huber. Thanks for being here. Fred Huber is a patron. I use real maps a lot in our Rifts games. Yeah, you can't do better than using real maps, for sure. A spire. A wizard or oracle has built their home on top. Spire. What is actually a spire, though? When we say spire, what do we mean? Are we talking about a tower? If it's a tower, we've kind of already got a tower. But I'll put it down. Is it an actual place? Okay. I'm sure it is. That's why Pale Rider said Colorado. Indian cliff dwelling. So let's just go cliff dwellings. I think did we have something about cliffs? We had a cliff, but not a cliff dwellings. Let's go here. Cliff dwellings. Because this is a common thing all around the world, right? Cliff dwellings. And they're quite impressive. Might have dropped. Okay, I'm going up. Doing my best to find it. Remains thousands of feet tall with the rest of... Oh, I see. The core of an ancient volcano. That's what a spire is. The core of an ancient volcano. Core of an ancient volcano that remains after the cone erodes. I think that's basically it. I think that's basically what you're talking about. Now I get it. I understand. Rift, a split in the continent. A seamless, bottomless canyon where two tectonic plates. Okay, a rift. A split in the continent. Okay, rift, split in the continent. All right, let's mark that. That's probably going to be an underwater thing, but that's fine. Okay, rift. And what else did you have here? A round lake, a crater from a meteorite strike that is filled with water over the centuries. At the bottom is it, the thing that impacted Astral Dragon Egg. So, I mean, we got lake already, and lakes can be formed by just normal process of time, but you can have a lake, as you said, from a meteor strike leaving a big indentation, but often you can get a lake as a result of the entire top of a volcano just exploding and disappearing, and left a great huge hole, and it just fills up with water, and that's how you get a lake. So Lake Taupo is a result of that. Taupo used to be a volcano, but the whole top just flew off. And Lake Pupuki is also used to be a volcano. Whole top just flew off. That's happened a few times. So lots of places around the world have things like that, where you have a lake as a result of something like a volcanic cone just disappearing. Catacombs, moon base. Okay, moon base. Doesn't have to be sci-fi. Moon base could be a sci-fi thing, particularly if you're traveling around in the fantasy world and you fly through space or the astral sea. Underground city, spire, catacombs. I think we've got city already. Whether it's city underground or above ground, doesn't think it matters. Okay, all right, so let's just drop that in. Okay, catacombs. Now, I think I've got most of your ideas down. I'm going to prompt again so I know where I'm up to, and then I'm going to go back over the document so you can see what I'm doing, and I'm going to start putting stuff in, because that's what we need to do. Start filling it out. Okay. Okay. All right. So, get comfortable. I'm ready. And where is my document? If I can find my mouse. There we go. There's my mouse. So, plenty of things to work with, plenty of things to fill out. And, yeah. So, let's go here. And the freshwater lake. I mean, a lake is usually freshwater. So, it's kind of pointless saying freshwater lake. If we go here, lake, and define, lakes are almost always definition. A large area of water surrounded by land. Yeah. A pool of liquid. Yeah, basically that's what it is. And we'll just drop that in. We know what that is. Ah, sheesh. Has that done what I thought it would do? No, it hasn't. Good, thank God for that. And paste. A large area of water surrounded by land. Usually a lake, no, lakes can have streams and rivers feeding into them. This is basically what, yeah, no, that's fine. We don't have to say fresh water because it's unimportant, frankly, so lake is good enough. Huge statues, a monolithic human figures carved from stone. That's fine. We've got a waterfall, a cascade of water falling from a height formed when a river or stream flows over a precipice or steep incline. Yep, that's that one. We've got the tower, the stone tower with a panoramic view of the countryside. The large chapel for religious significance with painted dome ceiling. Wildlife park, yes, we've got that done. A palace. So let's see, palace. Palace is large and impressive building forming the official residence of a ruler, and that's really what it is, right down to the, yep. Absolutely, that's exactly what it is. So, paste. A large impressive building forming the official residence of a ruler. Yep. An abbey. Got here Gothic Abbey Church, but let's go up here and chuck an abbey. Abbey. A building or buildings occupied by a community of monks or nuns. True. True. That was formerly an abbey. A church that was formerly an abbey. Oh, okay. What is a simple definition of? A church with buildings attached to it in which monks and nuns run or live or used to live. Or used to live. Okay. That seems about right. You can also call it a monastery, but abbey, monastery is pretty much the same thing. So let's go over here. A church with additional buildings attached to it in which monks or nuns live. That's good enough. Let's get with that. Okay. Giant causeway, natural rock formations with hexagonal beltite columns, and we don't really say giant, we just say causeway. Primitive caves, a complex of caves with cave wall paintings. Primitive caves. This is why we, caves, primitive. Yeah, no, I can see that. Natural terrace, ancient terraces carved into the mountains, into a mountain's base. Better. Okay, so I'm up to 11. Let's jump back and see how the chat is doing, because we needed about, I think it was roughly 5 officially, but we'll probably want it with repeats here. So the Everglades, a swamp. Look, you just said swamp. We'll just put in a swamp. Swamp can be a landmark. We'll add swamp in there. Did we have swamp already? I don't think we did. I'm pretty sure we didn't have swamp. Natural locations rather than built locations. I'm pretty sure swamp was not on the list. Okay, cool. Add swamp. Here we go. The Scorpion Swamp. The something swamp. Space station. Yeah, I suppose, yeah, space station. We can have a space station. Let's put in space station. And paste. There we go. Space station. Abbey has the girls and the monastery has the boys, I believe. Really? I don't think it really matters in the slightest. I think whether it's an abbey or a monastery, it's probably more of a cultural thing. Badlands, you mean desert? Yes, I suppose desert can be a landmark of some kind. Did we include desert? I don't think we did. Not in this list. I think desert did not come up. I'm just checking through the list now just to see if I can see the word desert. I don't think we have. Okay. All right, so let's add in a desert. These are more naturally forming things. Deserts. I need a lozenge to keep myself going, and I think a bit of tea as well. Bum. Yeah. Let's try this again. Back to the chat. A sewer system. Now, the sewer system is underground. You're probably not going to see it as a landmark, but it is a location. And even though it's not above ground, I think you probably got it right there, Pale Rider. Catacomb. It's a very extensive and interesting location. It's a location, right? And a sewer system. There are some very advanced and extensive sewer systems around the world. So I think yes, we add in sewer system. The Paris sewer system is supposed to be just bat nuts crazy. Heck, I think even the no, I can't remember the other one. Radioactive or dead zone. Yes, okay. Well, radioactive zone. I guess we can add that in. There we go. And where am I now? I think we're trucking along. So let's go back to the document. And okay, let's have a look. What do we got next? Document. Back to where I was working. And we were dealing with castle, weren't we? Castle was the next thing. Well, you know what a castle is. It's not going to be hard. It's a pretty obvious one, that one. But castle. A large fortified building with thick walls and battlements and towers. So, really, we've dealt with, what is a castle before many times. Shite on you. Okay, let's try that again. A large. Forget about this bit. It's a large fortified building with thick walls, battlements, and towers. Battlements, towers, and a moat, and sometimes a moat. That is your castle. Easy peasies. Next, ancient stone wall built for defense. So let's just go here. I think we need to be a bit more stone. Look, there are many stone walls that have been built over the years, not just the Great Wall of China, but I'm just thinking in terms of what's a better. It doesn't need to be ancient. We'll just get rid of ancient for now. A stone wall built for defense. A long, tall stone wall built for defense. Let's just call it a wall. Stone wall. Rock walls. Rock walls are very common, and they were also built for defense, believe it or not. There's a bunch of them in Europe and also in England. Marble mausoleum. I think we just go with mausoleum. Do we need to go say it's got to be made out of marble? No. So a mausoleum. Let's deal with that. Let's go copy. I'll take that over here. And it's really just an above ground tomb in most cases. We want a simple definition. An impressive building housing a tomb or group of tombs. Yep, I'd say that's probably right. And it's an above ground tomb rather than a below ground tomb. paste. An impressive building housing a tomb or group of tombs above ground. Yep, that's what we wanted. Colosseum, as in the Roman Colosseum. Let's take this, and what have we got here? Colosseum. I'm going to come back to the chat. I'm just working my way through this little list here, and okay. A large theatre, cinema, or stadium. Bum bum bum. It's really basic what it is. Colosseum. Let's go here, paste. Why am I getting this? British English, thank you. Defense. Okay. If I got any, no, we're all good. Next, Colosseum. A large theatre, cinema, or stadium for sports, events, and so plays, sports events, movies, and plays. Yep, got that. Okay, a pyramid. Oh, this is going to be a problem when we go to pyramid. I can see this right now. Copy. Because it's going to tell me that it's an ancient Egyptian tomb, isn't it? A monument structure with a square or triangular base and sloped sides that meets the point at the top, especially when built of stone, blah, 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 blah. Let's see here. Let's just go this, and then we're going to have to change this a little bit. Paste. Okay. With a square or triangular base and sloping sides that meets in a point at the top. That's it. Yeah, cool. There's your pyramid. As to what the purpose of the pyramid is, I'm going to leave that to you guys. Crater, impact crater, impact. Well, yeah, impact crater, impact. Can't use the word crater if you're going to try and explain crater. It's like defining it with the same word. So crater. Okay, so a large bowl-shaped cavity in the ground. Much better. Yeah, let's do that. Darn it. Back to, no, I don't want this one. I want to just keep on editing. Paste. A large bowl-shaped cavity in the ground from a impacting meteorite. Okay, cool. Let's keep going. We're doing all right. We're just chugging along nicely. I think we'll go back to the chat and just see what you guys have been plugging in there and see if there's anything else I need to add. Oh, here we go. Oh, oh. Catacombs in France, the abandoned sewers were used to inter the dead when they ran out of room in the graveyards and the attics. Yeah. Yeah, graveyards. We've got graveyard already. Capitals, hidden passages through mountains, underground subway. Yeah. Communication tower would be high tech or fire towers. Something important happened here. Yeah. Well, how many more do we really need in terms of if we were trying to make up a list of things that are different? You know, we've actually reached 100. Would you believe it? With all your ideas, there's now 100 things here. Some of them might be repeating, but I don't generally feel like they are. So we're actually good. Like, believe it or not, we hit the 100, just based off your suggestions, Pale Rider, which is awesome. We didn't need that many more. So yeah, I think communication tower or a tower. I mean, what have you ever used a tower for? Towers can be for defense. They can be for communication. They can be for I suppose they can be for any sort of thing. So we're doing all right. I might at this point just to give you my Discord link for those of you who are here and want to go and hang out with me for a while, rather than just continue on. I mean, I'm going to fill out the document as much as I can because that's what I do. But do I want to make that an entire live stream? I don't know if I can be bothered. I don't know if anybody else can be bothered watching it. We have essentially reached 100, so that sort of suggests to me that yeah, it's just about me just sitting here and just crunching down information until the whole thing's finished. So I'm going to give you my Discord for those of you who want to come and hang out. It's there. I'm going to end this poll. I'm going to go over to Discord now. I'm going to hang out there for a little while, deal with a few things, and continue working on this document until it's as finished as I can get before I have to go to work. I mean, that's where my head is at right now. So let's just do this, end this poll. I'm thinking when I come back round to do locations that I will probably go over the natural wonders of the world. We'll probably discuss that at some point. We kind of have discussed it before. And then I'm also going to start looking more into, since my general feeling is a lot of the tools that we need are generally getting built, we'll start looking at location and building out the assets within a location. Okay? But do you use wonders of the world as inspiration for your exotic adventure locations? Yes, 50%. It's only 4 votes. There's not too many people here today. No, 25%, and incomplete 25%. Interesting. Okay. All right. So yeah, the document is far but from finished, and I will be here for a while trucking my way through. But as you can see, we've got it's just about filling in the details. Easy stuff. It's just time consuming. That's all. And I generally feel like we have something different for everything. We've got something that sort of stands out and is different from all the rest. And there's 100 of them, which you could plug into your adventure and use in some way. And of course, it's not an exhaustive list. Like, there's much more that we could do as well. And like, this is just a starting point in many respects, right? So I'm going to say a huge thank you to everybody who's been watching and listening. I do appreciate that you come and hang out with me in the live streams, provide your ideas and suggestions. It's always nice. So thank you for doing so. I want to say a huge thank you to all of my patrons who support me on Patreon. And particularly today, special call out to Fred Huber and Pale Rider, who used the chat and provided some interesting ideas. And I really do appreciate you sharing your ideas with other people. I know not everybody wants to do that. Sometimes it can feel a little embarrassing, but you guys are always really good about the whole process, and I really do thank you for doing so today. I would also like to say, look, wherever you are in the world, whether it is the morning, the afternoon, or the night, please look after yourself, your family, and your friends. Be nice to your neighbours. And a big thank you for those people who filled out the poll, the 4 of you. And until next time, keep rolling those 20s.